In this little section, we're talking about how to unleash your creativity. And the reason I think this is such an important concept to get your head around is because so many of us, I think, are starting from a belief of something like, I'm not that creative, or I'm not a creative person. And when we have that belief or a belief like that about ourselves, then guess what? We're not going to be able to be more creative. We'll struggle to be creative. And I think we're missing out on a lot of the goodies from our brain and our mind when we're telling ourselves or when we don't have the belief that we're creative. So I believe personally that all people are creative and that we're born creative. Babies are creative. They have to be. In order to learn how to walk, a baby has to take risks and they have to do trial and error. They have to try all sorts of things until they get to the point where they actually can stand up and take a step. Now, if they're not willing to risk anything, then they're never going to get that first step under their belt, and so then they can't walk and they can't then learn how to run. So I think being creative and telling yourself you're a creative person is a really important first step to being able to unleash your creativity. And when you're living life more creatively, regardless of what you do and how you do it, then you're going to be able to have a greater sense of ease around things. Getting more ideas is useful regardless of what you do. Whatever you do with those ideas, wouldn't you want to have more of them? So I just find personally in my working life in particular, believing that I'm creative and learning how to be creative has really helped make my work a heap more fun in particular and easier. And who wouldn't want more of that? I don't need to look at it from a kind of a boring, grey way of doing things. If I can make my work more fun and more energizing and more interesting, it's going to mean that everything flows a whole lot more easy. So it's been really important for me to learn how to develop my own creativity. And regardless of how creative you think you are right now, you don't need to be an artist to be creative. Creative people can have ideas in all sorts of different ways and can implement them in all different ways. But anybody can dial up their creativity and start believing from this minute forward that I am a creative person. You are a creative person. Everybody is. Just because you don't take art class, just because you don't play a musical instrument, for example, just because you don't see yourself as a novel writer or a screenplay writer, doesn't mean you're not creative. Absolutely all of us are creative in our own way, if only we get out of our own way and start believing it and start dialing it up.